Deadly demonstrations, 3 die in central Athens during mass protests over budget cuts. They died after protesters firebombed a bank during a nationwide strike. Hello, I'm Sahil Rahman in Doha. This is the Al Jazeera Hour of News. Also on the programme, the race to win over British voters enters its final stage as the hopefuls woo the undecided before Thursday's vote. The man accused of trying to blow up a car in New York is due to appear in court. And consolidating their power, Iraq's 2 biggest Shia groups form a new political alliance. Welcome to the programme. We start this hour of news in Greece, where what began as a mass protest against budget cuts has taken a deadly turn. 3 people have died in a fire that broke out at a bank during riots in the capital. Well, tens of thousands of people remain on the streets of central Athens. Our correspondent Barnaby Phillips is in amongst them. Barnaby, you're trying to make your way to where the fatalities occurred. What are you seeing right now?
Well, actually, Sahal, I've just made my way back up to the Al Jazeera office in the centre of the city. The 2 hours of tear gas was pretty much enough. I can tell you, however, that my colleagues from the Al Jazeera team are down outside that bank on Stadio Street, the Marfin Bank, which was set on fire during the riots earlier. And they're saying that there's still a crowd of angry protesters and clashes going on near the bank between the riot police and crowds of protesters. They're also saying that there are several thousand people down that street who did not even get into Parliament Square. They were blocked off by police down there, and obviously that they're feeling pretty upset as well. So tensions and emotions are running very high in central Athens now.
And you've been following events for us for the past several hours, and earlier my colleague Shudi Ghosh did ask you about the way that security forces have been reacting to the violence that they are experiencing, the Molotov cocktails, the tear gas that we're showing pictures of right now.
Yes, I mean, it's a little bit early perhaps to make an assessment of the policing. I think it would be fair to say in defence of the police that you like, I think it would be legitimate to say that it was quite apparent to me that there were many people who came out into central Athens today with pretty violent intentions. That they were carrying motorcycle helmets, and they were carrying bags full of Molotov cocktails, and they obviously wanted a fight. I mean, it's difficult for me to say at this stage whether the police at any stage overstepped the mark. What I can say is that what is tragic at many levels, obviously it's a tragic time in Greece, but one of the tragedies is that tens of thousands of people had come out today peacefully to protest about a very difficult economic situation and to express legitimately their concerns. But a demonstration certainly is disintegrated into a very serious riot.
Yeah, of course, didn't mean to interrupt you there, Barnaby. Of course, it's all about budget cuts. Parliament and members of Parliament will be watching these pictures. Do you think it's going to have any influence now on the way Parliament votes these austerity plans through?
My suspicion, Sahal, is that it isn't. It won't. Yes, probably these deaths and the scale of this riot does change the equation. It's highly unusual within the Greek political context, where violence is often quite ritualistic. It looks shocking, but both the police and anarchist and extremist groups sort of operate strangely within unwritten parameters. Well, clearly things cross the line at some stage today, and deaths like this are highly unusual. But I don't think the socialist government of George Papandreou feels that it has any choice, despite these incredible scenes you're seeing in the heart of an EU capital this afternoon. It feels that Greece's debt crisis is such that it simply cannot back down. And remember, it does have the numbers in Parliament, provided that George Papandreou can secure the loyalty of his own MPs, which he has been able to until now. Provided he can do that, I suspect he'll be pushing ahead with this because he believes that there simply is no alternative, that for Greece not to pursue these measures would produce an even more desperate situation.
Well, just stay with us for a moment, Barnaby. I'd just like to run for our viewers through some of the budget cuts that have caused the chaos today. Amongst them are pay cuts and pay freezes. Public sector workers won't be able to even consider a pay rise until 2014. Now, the holiday bonuses will be abolished for those earning more than €3,000 a month. The retirement age will go up. At the moment, it's 65 years for men and 60 for women. In future, it'll be linked to the average life expectancy. And there'll be a tax hike. Duties linked to consumer goods will rise to 23%. Excise taxes, which are placed on things like fuel, cigarettes and alcohol, will go up by a further 10%. Well, of course, the pictures that we're seeing, Barnaby, are a very uncertain, shaky capital, Athens. What's the reaction been like across the capital, across the country, outside of Athens? What's the mood been there?
Well, I haven't had a chance to talk to people outside of Athens today, so I know that the general strike has been well observed, that airports are closed, that ferries are closed across the country. In the past, the second city, Thessaloniki, has also been volatile, and certainly during the recent protests that have been going on for some months now, thousands of people have come out in Thessaloniki. But I think Parliament Square, if you like, was really the focus. The centre of Athens was the focus of today's demonstrations. But I should say, one of the peculiarities of a Greek general strike, such as the one we've had today, is that Greek journalists are on strike. These amazing pictures that you're seeing are not being broadcast on Greek television. Greek newspapers, many of them will not be printed tomorrow, or at least that was the initial plan. They may revise their plans in the wake of today's events. And many Greek news radios are not broadcasting today. In fact, I saw many Greek journalists in the crowd proudly on strike, and that means it's difficult to collect news about what's happening in the rest of the country.
Well, of course, you'll be following events for us in Athens and across Greece as well. Barnaby Phillips, thanks for joining us.